I was thinking we met during the door-to-door industry, which is like, definitely not for everyone. And I was like curious because some would say that was their worst gig, was the door-to-door game. I thought, we learned quite a bit. It was very interesting at times, but you said your worst gig was Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Very interesting. Yeah, like looking back, I'm just like, man, like I was actually a coin technician. That's what I got hired for.
All right, so what's a coin technician? Just someone who cleans out the machine?
Yeah, basically, if little kid jams the tokens inside of the machine, I have to go over there with a key and open it up and, be the hero.
So you'd save the kids or his mom's. What does a coin convert to? What was the inflation rate back? How old were you when you worked at Chuck E. Cheese? Like 17, 18?
No, I was actually right out of college. I was
6 months ago?
Freshman. I was actually freshman year in college. It was like one of the first jobs that I had working for, not working under a table or doing construction. But yeah, it was definitely quite the experience. I remember we actually back then we had the big Chucky suits. And now you have like the anorexia, Chucky.
Yeah, he slimmed down. You had the 2010 model.
Yeah, I had. Yeah, that guy was big, man. He needs some gluten free.
Now it's a new body type. Dude, that's wild. So when you filled out the application, were you like, was it one of those things where you fired out a bunch of applications and Chuck E. Cheese hit you back first?
Basically, yeah.
Okay.
It wasn't.
And you're like, I'm just gonna do it because.
Yeah, I had to.
Well, yeah, no. I mean, trust me, I've had probably dozens of those gigs where I'm like, hey, they hit me back first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it was definitely quite the experience. When I wasn't like getting the coins out of the machines, I was wearing a costume, dancing to. What's the Cupid Shuffle? Go, do your dance, do your dance.
Do they?
In the costume, man, and it was like 200 degrees inside. And I smelled really bad,
and it was sweaty from the guy before you, right?
Exactly.
Beautiful.
It stank, like disgusting.
Now, did they bring in a choreographer that was like, all right, this is how you do the official Chuck E. Cheese dance?
I mean, the manager kind of helped out.
All right.
They kind of showed us what to do, but after
he's like, I've been wearing the Chuck E. suit for 29 years.
Pretty much.
So there's lifers at the Chuck E. Cheese industries?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Dude, see, this is what fascinates me is because
it's wild.
Because you go as a kid, but you don't think about the background process.
Yeah, I mean, I remember going to Chuck E. Cheese when I was younger, and I mean, like 10 years or 15 years later, I'm like, what the hell am I doing? Like, I'm that weirdo in the costume. Yeah, it's pretty disturbing.
Yeah, dude, it's it's funny because we had my boy Joe Pergolizzi in high school. Like, we all just had like the worst gigs, bro. Like, I was Walmart and Papa John's. And whenever I was off, and at Bradenton, dude, there's nothing to do. You're like, okay, we either go to the beach, we go here. That's hit the Applebee's maybe.
Yeah, on
if
64?
someone, yeah. And so on our off days, we're like, we would just be driving to the mall or something, and we're like, yeah, let's hit the Chuck E. Cheese and make fun of Joe. and we knew what time, we knew his schedule, so we knew when they'd bring him out in the Chuck suit.
Oh man!
And he would be like this with the Chucky hand, like, get away, like, get out of here. He knew he'd just see us in the back, dude, just laughing.
I don't know what's weird, an adult in a Chuck E. Cheese costume, or you guys going to Chuck E. Cheese
to make fun of him. Yeah, I mean, the thing is, like, at least he was getting paid.
Exactly. It's
you know what I'm saying?
What are you doing with your life? I'm gonna go and mess with Joe.
Like, he's getting the $9. But yeah, he was telling me like, dude, it's disgusting. It's all sweaty in here and stuff. So I was just, because I had asked you when we were working out earlier, I was just like, what's your worst gig? As soon as you said Chuck E. Cheese, I was like, we're jumping on the podcast because
yeah, it's pretty terrible.
I've talked about some horrible jobs that I've had, like the guy at Jimmy John's with the 3 fingers. Mm-hmm. But dude, tell me, like, was there like a character in the Chuck E. Cheese where you were like, I hope I never end up. Because when you're at those jobs, you're like, okay, I'm going to be here 1 year max. Mm-hmm. and then you're usually gone, and people are like, "You're leaving already?" You know, and you're like, "Yes, I'm out of here."
Yeah, I was only there for maybe 3 months max.
Oh, so you were 90 days.
Yeah, like
you were like, "I'm gonna see what this is about."
Yeah, and then I got my other gig. I was actually working at Texas Roadhouse.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's definitely an upgrade.
But yeah, I don't even think I ever gave them a 2-week notice. I think I just like didn't come to work because I'm like I'm tired of this. I'm like I actually want to go and work somewhere else. So I just like dipped out, dude.
So
Like,
I mean, that's
immigrant, man. Just you didn't know where you went.
I mean, there's probably a lot of people that they probably prepare for that at Chuck E. Cheese. They go, one day he's gonna put the costume on and just be like, "I'm done."
Yeah. No, I mean, I can't say that for anybody else, but it's what I did and best thing I ever did.
So was there anyone there that like stuck out to you?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard not to think about anybody who didn't stick out to me, but yeah, there's this big black guy named James. He had a little twist. He was always high. He would always make the pizza, and like he would always like every other pizza he would burn. And yeah.
Well, like smoke a joint or burn the pizza.
Well, both. I mean, he was burning, if you know what I mean.
He went out back, and that was the one that got burnt.
Yeah, and then like anytime that any of the servers would go out and pick up whatever, all the trash and all the like
bust the table.
Yeah, bust the tables. James would always eat the leftover pizza that he made.
Oh my gosh,
that's like really nasty.
You think he's still there?
Probably. Yeah.
Shout out to James, man.
Yeah, he wasn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Let's just put it that way.
He could be corporate now.
Yeah, it'd be funny if he was.
I thought about it when I worked at Walmart. I go, if being who I am as a person, if I just stuck it out through getting yelled at every morning by Monisha,
telling you to wear the face mask.
No, this is pre-corona. But she would, dude, 7 a.m. was my shift on the weekend. So I'd show up at 7 a.m. and I would do nothing until about 8 a.m. I was in electronics, so I just I'd look at the new games that just came out. I go, oh, wow, 2K. 2K.
Did you ever take any?
Nah, I never stole. I should have.
See, I had a guy an acquaintance in high school. Good. He was actually friends with my brother. He actually he worked at Walmart, and he would take the games. Like he would literally go back.
It's so easy.
And just sell them at school.
It's so easy.
Klepto from the get-go.
Klepto from the get-go. Yeah, man. We had a guy, Josh, and I met him like one time, but he was kind of a genius. He did his first day at Walmart. Like he got all his paperwork. He made sure he was on payroll, and then you only saw him when he clocked in.
Man.
And then he left. So he would show up, he'd swipe his card in, and then he would go home.
Wow.
And it was a new Walmart. So they were hiring people, and it was kind of like in shambles. This was the one on 70, the one by Lakewood Ranch.
Yep.
So I worked at the new one. Like we're the ones who put the shelves up.
Oh, wow.
Like we built the thing. Like probably got underpaid.
Yeah,
they're like, we'll just let the employees do all the work. So this guy left, and he would come in, clock in, leave. And he would come back in to clock out. And people would be like, where's Josh? Like, I haven't seen him. And like, but no one really like, and I'm not a snitch. Yeah. So I'm like, I was just like, I'd see him leave. He'd drive off in his red Chrysler 300, probably stole that too. And I would go, hey Josh, man, I just want to say, dude, you're a genius. And he's like, you're going to tell him? I'm like, no, man.
What do you think he's up to?
I admire it. He's in prison.
No.
Yeah. He got all the keys. Mm-hmm. To the electronics and everything, and him and a guy came in and cleaned out the whole camera section.
Oh wow!
So it's probably like $50,000, because this was like when they had like all the DSLRs and everything, and dude, they wiped it, and you heard like security, and then they had like the police in there, and it was like a big case, but they caught him just because on camera they're like, we hired that guy, we just never see him.
Yeah, we just gave him 1,000 keys.
Yeah, so I don't know whose job it was to like hire this guy and then never check up on him again.
Yeah, sounds like Walmart.
Yeah, pretty much. Because on his schedule, they had to just be like, well, I mean, he's clocking in. We just don't know where he is.
Yeah, that's
genius, man.
Yeah, it's smart.
Dude,
same time.
Good old Chuck E. Cheese, man. You can't go there anymore as an adult.
That's not true.
We have to have a kid.
Oh, when did they pass that?
I don't know. It's actually surprisingly recently.
Yeah, that's kind of...
Same with playgrounds. Like in New York, it'll say, in order to be on this premise, you have to be accompanied by a child. It's like the opposite, and it's like must be accompanied by an adult. It's must be accompanied by a child.
So they can take your kid. You'll never see him again.
No, they can't take your kid.
Accompanied.
They're just making it harder for kidnappers, dude. That's how you weeded out the slow kids in elementary school. You're like, where's James? They're like, he's in the van. We're like, oh, damn.
Eating leftover pizza.
Yeah, they got him. They got him, dude. Dude, I could have easily been thrown in a van as a kid.
Man.
Easily. We had...
doing this right now, that happened,
I probably wouldn't be. Yeah, I was like 7 years old, dude, and we had a fake band. That was my first dream. Was like a rock star.
What was the name of the band?
We didn't have one. It was just three morons in a garage. So we leave the
Stooges.
Yeah. Dude, it was worse than that. So we had hockey sticks. Those were the guitars because the top of it, you know how it curves?
Yep.
That was like where you would adjust the string tightness.
Wow.
That was where you tune the guitar. So we pretended that was the top. And then we had pots and pans for the drums, but no one wanted to play the drums. The pots and pans. Everyone wanted to be lead guitarist.
Wow.
So it's just three of us playing hockey stick guitars in the garage, and we'd put signs around the neighborhood saying like free rock concert.
Wow.
No one showed up, dude. But if they did, they could have easily got. Dude, if a guy pulled up into my cul-de-sac in a white van and he was like, "We're going on tour, kids, get in," we would have jumped in. That's the delusion we were at. We were like, dude, we rock. And it was like we were just playing air guitar over like Bon Jovi.
Oh, man, that's hilarious.
Get in, kids, we're going.
Get in the van.
Yeah, we would have been gone, dude.
Man, well, glad you're here.
Yeah, dude. Where would I be?
What was one of the craziest moments that you had at ADT?
Probably, well, it was either signing the contract at gunpoint or when we were in that house holding all the guns. So I'll explain the first one. It was, all right, for those listening, door-to-door industry, they drop you off. They pick you up late at night. They don't care if it's raining. They don't care if you got shot. They don't care if you got hit by lightning. You're knocking till the allotted time. So you would text the person that dropped you off like, "Hey, man, it's pouring rain." And he would text you back, "Doesn't rain in houses. See you at 11 p.m. And you were stuck. So one time, this lady was coming home like real late. And the good thing in the door-to-door industry, you want to catch people in their driveways. You're like, good, they're already out of the house. Let me annoy them now. So she's coming in. She had like, I think like groceries or like something from CVS. And she was like getting into the house. And I was like, "Hey, man, like, not selling anything. I know it's 10:30 at night and there's no sun out, but I'm still in your neighborhood." So I was like, "Hey, we're doing an alarm system, this and that." And she goes, "Oh my gosh, I was just about to call you guys. We need an alarm system." And I go, "Perfect." And she goes, "I have my kids in the house." And she's like, "I don't know you and it's dark." She goes, "I will have my gun out while we do the paperwork." And being me, I'm like, no problem. But there's one thing to be like, no problem, and then be at the kitchen table with her, like with a 45 pointed at you.
Yeah, that's wild.
And I'm like, sign here. And like the pencil's shaking. Please don't shoot. I'm like telling her the price. I'm like, it's going to be 40. Like waiting to see if she cocked the gun back. I'm like, please be the right price.
Oh, man.
So yeah, hooked her up. And then the craziest time, borderline terrifying, was when you had a lead, and I forget the guy's name. You know his name?
I think it was like Anthony.
Yeah. Anthony.
Yeah, Anthony.
So Chip and I show up. He's like, "Yeah, man, this guy's really cool. We're going to close him." I don't even think you knew what we were walking into.
Yeah, no.
So we come in to this guy's house. We sit down. Everything seems normal. It's just a young guy that owns a home that wants an alarm system. So we started talking to him, and we're like, we'll put the motion detector here. You get a key fob that unlocks your alarm. And I remember just him being like, yeah, I had a Lamborghini once. And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, I felt like a douchebag with it. And I'm like, cool, man. We're going to put your motion detector here. And he just kind of like didn't care. And then I remember he was like, do you like guns? And you and I were just like trying to close the deal. We're like, yeah, we like guns. Yeah, they're cool, whatever. Then he just started pulling out stuff that you can't even unlock in Call of Duty.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. I thought it was cool. I was like, oh, awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad you had a good time putting our fingerprints on every weapon that this guy owned. And we're talking about like James Bond didn't have access to this many guns. I mean, he was pulling them out from under the coffee table. He's like, I keep them. Bathroom sink. Yeah, he's like, this is if I'm using the bathroom and someone kicks the door in. I go, should we know something? Like, just
is something gonna happen?
Is someone gonna raid while we're here? Dude, you would have thought that like people were really after him when he would be like, and in this closet. And then I remember he handed me an Uzi, and I'm not gonna like not hold it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's already awkward. So he's like, here's hold this. He's like, you ever seen an Uzi? I'm like, yeah. He's like, cool, hold it. And I'm like, wow, it's heavy. Like, don't kill me. And he goes, oh, it's because it's loaded. And then he grabs it back from me and goes, and one of the shells flies out. Wow. And he goes, good, now it's unloaded or whatever.
Yeah, that was interesting. You remember he started talking to us about he had like some liquid liquid ass stuff that he's like, hey, I'm gonna spray it here. Like,
like the fart can or whatever. Yeah, that guy was out of his mind.
Like, what are you doing with your life? But he offered to pay for his system up front.
Well, that's what was scary was when he goes, we're like, okay, the life of the contract over the next 4 years is going to be $3,500. He goes, all right, I'm going to pay that cash. And no one ever pays cash.
Yep.
He goes, I'll pay cash. And he goes, and I don't want it connected to the police. And that's when I knew.
That was, yeah.
He goes, I'm like, man, I just want it. He goes, yeah, I just want the alarm system to beep to my phone, like almost like a pager. And he goes, I don't need the police showing up. And I go, okay, now I really know the situation that we're in.
Jump man, that boy.
I think he. This is looking back because I think about this guy at red lights every now and then. I go, where's Anthony? I mean, guys, he was handing us like. I think at one point he handed me a bazooka and he was like, all it's missing is the missile. And I'm like, that's not what it's missing. You don't need a missile, sir.
Yeah.
Dude, he's like, you know what an F-2000 is? I'm like, yeah, isn't that like a Russian gun? He goes, got it right here. And just like pulls it out from under his pillow. I mean, this dude was just like, I think he was on the run, or he never left his house. And the fact that we were over there, he's like, I'm going to like show and tell these people because I don't have people over. And that was a lot of people in the alarm industry.
Yeah.
When you're knocking people's homes in Florida, especially Lehigh Acres,
yep,
dude, you don't know who you're going to meet.
Yeah, the craziest part, it was actually cool for me. I was like, oh, he's going to take a picture when he had the panda hat.
Yeah.
And I'm like in an 80s t-shirt with like an AK-47 and a freaking huge, just massive panda hat. Like, it's like this costume, and I'm like, I had the gun, and
dude, yeah.
Back, I'm like, wow.
I'm standing in the corner with an Uzi, probably a hot one that's got a few bodies on it. I'm standing there thinking my fingerprints are on this, and Chip's like, cheese, with a panda hat and an AK-47 with no serial number. And I'm like mouthing to Chip, man, we gotta go. And he's like, no, we're going to close the deal. Don't worry. We ended up signing him.
Yeah.
Was it worth it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was quite the story, but he also he was actually producing for Lil Jon, which was cool because he was actually, you remember, he showed us his laptop. Yeah. Oh. Sus.
Who knows, man?
Yeah.
I think he was producing firearms for Little John,
Yeah, probably.
but
Okay.
records, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's what I said when he pulled out the bazooka. I was like, okay, we gotta get out of here,
Man.
dude. That was wild, man. Yeah, probably, definitely one of the weirdest experiences.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely top 10.
Top 10 for sure. But yeah, man. The Chuck E. Cheese. Any other gig? I mean, you kind of went.
I did sports construction.
Sports
cool.
construction?
Yeah.
What's
I actually so basically we would build, go around the whole entire state of Florida, just build like tennis courts.
Oh, okay.
Shuffleboard courts for all the older people. Pickleball courts, which is pretty cool. It's actually the fastest growing sport in the country.
Yeah, they're actually building pickleball courts in certain neighborhoods.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty cool game.
Yeah, it's like tennis, but you can't let the ball hit the ground.
Yeah, you play with 2 other people, so it's like 2-on-2.
Right.
But
yeah, it's like it's a ping pong table that you can stand on.
Yep.
Essentially.
Yeah, basically is what it is.
It's like mini tennis.
I had the opportunity to basically do John Travolta's house.
Yeah, dude, that was wild.
Yeah, that was.
All right, talking to the mic.
Yeah, that's.
But you were all right. So you were telling me about this. You've been to John Travolta's house.
Mm-hmm. No Cali.
Sus.
Yeah, that was like one of those. I mean, we were there for like 2 to 3 days. It was like,
dude really has a runway.
Yeah, he really has a runway. He got kicked out of his former town, and I actually found out just going to Ocala. I like looked him up the other day. He's actually selling his house. I think he's going back to Hollywood.
Oh,
He would actually talk to his agent. I remember one morning, the first morning that we got there, he got in his he had like a Mercedes and he like drove off. He was driving towards his 751. I think that's what he had. 750. I don't know.
747, something like that.
Something like that.
757.
He drove. He got on his plane and just 5 minutes later he took off. And I was
so you saw him leave out of his driveway airport.
Yep.
That's so crazy, bro.
Well, the crazy thing is he came back because we were there basically the reason why we were there is because his son passed away a couple years before, like a year or two before. Mm. And he just, talking to his agent, he got really depressed and basically he's like, hey, I don't want the basketball court anymore. Like, I want you guys to tear everything and build me a tennis court.
So you were mid basketball court and he was like, nah, I want a tennis court.
Well, he had a tennis court or a basketball court. But I think it was the memories, just
sentimental,
value, of his son passing.
That's sad, man.
And his agent's like, yeah, John hasn't been the same. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of sad. It just kind of felt like a very oppressed time that felt very oppressing when we were working there. And then one day he actually came in. We were working, coating the tennis court, and he came in. He flew in and did the same thing and drove to his house, drove his car to his house, and then just his shutters were open. His house is like a little mini airport kind of, and we saw him from the distance, and he closed the doors. I was like, man, it's kind of sad. So he would fly over there every other day to Hollywood.
Yeah, he would
take 2 hours.
he would just fly and come back.
Yeah,
same day.
Yeah, sometimes. Yeah.
Where you get all that money, man?
Yeah, man. I mean, he would go by himself too, which was kind of wild. I'm like, man, it's kind of pretty cool.
Yeah, you know what I like about him?
What?
He's not talking about global warming.
He's talking about something else.
All these celebrities are like, we got to put an end to global warming. And then as their G6 is in the background, on the runway, they're coming down the steps. Guys, global warming. We need to all take buses. I'm like, well, you're in your own plane, burning a hole through the ozone. Mm-hmm. Yeah, just be honest. That's wild, man. So that's got to be a weird experience, dude.
Yeah, it was definitely, I mean, there's probably 10 homes in this community, and you're like, man, they're like estates. It's pretty cool.
Was he the only one with the runway?
No.
What's the zoning for that?
I don't know, man. You're asking the wrong guy.
You're just like, you call the government. You're like, yo, look, I'm building a runway in my driveway. And they're like, okay, John.
Well, that's actually
we loved Pulp Fiction. Go for it. And your neighbors that bought like $100 million home next to you were like, that's keeping up with the Joneses, man.
Yeah, man.
If your neighbor buys like a BMW, you're like, man, I gotta get a BMW. But then you're like, nah, I'm just gonna go ahead and put a runway right here.
Yeah, that's pretty.
That's insane.
His neighbor, like, who's your neighbor? Oh, John Travolta.
Yeah, you hear his plane take off.
Yeah,
that's insane,
like,
bro.
John Travolta,
because he had the not the tarmac. What's that thing called that connects the plane to the airport?
Oh,
it's like the walkway thing. Yeah, he actually had one of those going into like his kitchen.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I have pictures of it anymore. I mean, I wasn't like trying to, be that guy, but I think I took a picture, sent it to the wife. But yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I said, I mean, being able to do something like that, And then the other thing too, I was at the IMG Academy. Basically, that's I saw Cam Newton there. He was just by himself, like just warming up on a field.
Oh yeah, IMG's next level.
Yeah, it's cool because like there's I remember seeing a player from England. He was like he had like a photo shoot out there when he was with the Galaxy, and it's just pretty cool. It's like I was building a turf field at the IMG Academy, and I'm like, oh crap, look, there's Cam Newton. Oh, there's Gerard, and then like right next to us, the it was the Chicago Fire soccer team. They were just like practicing next to us, and I remember I had boots on. I remember one of the guys kicked the ball, and like I grabbed it and started juggling. They're like, "Oh, you played?" I'm like, "Yeah, something like that." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm sure you couldn't tell I'm Mexican, but whatever."
Yeah, dude. If you can dribble a soccer ball in work boots, they're like, "Oh,
yeah." They're like, "This guy, man, he's got some tapatio in it."
Verga.
Viva Mexico.
That's funny, bro. Yeah, we had two kids in our neighborhood growing up, and their dad was like this Italian guy, and he like forced them to play golf. Forced them. You know those sports parents? This one was like extreme though. They were like, they would drive by in the golf cart, and they would look at us like playing in the front yard and like almost be in tears because they were like, we just want to be kids. Like some Michael Jackson stuff. Like his dad probably like you'd hear his dad yelling. Like you drive by the driving range and his dad would be like, keep your elbow in. Man. And you're like, these poor kids, man, like just forced to be good at golf.
At least they had a dad.
I mean, I guess. There's a certain point where you're like, because I mean, I wouldn't know what it's like to not have one. So I've been blessed with that and grateful, but I mean, you have a dad too. You're just trying to be.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just saying, like.
I know, but I'm saying, like, at what point are you like, all right, I'm cool with just living with mom?
Yeah, it's true.
Because I had a friend, he was an acquaintance. He went to my school, but 2 houses down, he was adopted, and his adopted dad forced him to play the piano. So we'd be like just playing Xbox, and then his dad would come in and be like, all right, Jeff, piano time. Man. And he's like, I don't want to play the piano, Dad. And he goes, you're playing Mozart. Sean, leave. And he's like, wow. You're not my dad. And I'm like, whoa, this is wild.
Oh, man.
It was like that guy the other night who said that he was adopted by a Puerto Rican woman, and she beat him and made him eat
rice and beans.
Rice and beans, and he's like, my real mom could have done this.
Yeah, that guy.
Funny stuff, man. But thanks for jumping on today, dude.
Yeah, of course.
Sure that people would want to hear about the Chuck E. Cheese life. I'm always curious, man, because that guy, what was his name? Mike Rowe, Dirty Jobs?
Yeah.
That guy had the best job. You know why? Because he never had a job. He did everyone's job as long as it took for them to get enough footage for that episode.
Wow.
Remember when I remember this one episode, he went to clean out porta potties with this husband and wife, and he's like, they were just like heavy set, like trailer park. Someone's got to clean it. No one's saying anything negative, but they were like putting the hose
Ugh.
into the drain, and they were like slurping it all out. And then,
Oh man.
and he goes, you guys do this every day? And he goes, been doing it every day for 10 years. Me and my wife love it.
Oh,
It's relaxing.
man.
And you can see the look on his face where he's like, do we have enough footage? Like he's just waiting for the producer to go and cut.
Oh man. God bless. Man.
He would do that. He would work at a chop shop. Like he would work the next day. He'd be, cleaning chicken coops. He would just do every dirty job in America for a season. And he made $35 million. Now he doesn't have to do anything ever again.
That's actually really smart.
And that's great because you don't ever get bored of that job.
Yeah.
Like, dude, if I worked at Papa John's one shift, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
If I worked at Walmart for one shift, that would have been amazing.
ADT.
For one day. Yeah. They just show you the training and then you're gone.
Yeah.
What do you do for work? I work one shift at a different job per day. 12 episodes. That guy. I remember in class, we would watch that show in like science class, Dirty Jobs, and I go, I want this guy's job.
Oh, Mike Rowe, this is Dirty Jobs.
Yeah. He goes,
man,
I'm Mike Rowe, and I'm gonna shovel one thing of dirt and call it a day. Legendary. Well, yeah, thanks Chip for coming on. Where can people find you at if they're looking for you?
Instagram.
Okay.
Chip Mendoza.
You got your full name?
No. It's just Chip Mendoza.
Well, I'm saying like, you got your name. It's hard to do that.
What?
Get your name on social media.
Oh yeah.
There's no Sean. Sean Madden isn't even a user. I type in Sean Madden on Instagram, and it's like someone blank, and I'm like, hey, I'll pay you $100 if I can, get Sean Madden, and he goes, no. I go, you didn't even use the profile.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the worst, man. When you you go to create a name, and then all of a sudden, like somebody has it, and they're not using.
They're not using it.
Like 2 followers.
The other Sean Madden's a UFC fighter. I actually ended up just following all the Sean Maddens, like a psychopath.
Yeah, that's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is weird.
Don't do that.
You think you're better than me?
Stop it.
All right, guys, that'll be episode 9. I'm gonna start doing Mondays and Thursdays, so be on the lookout for that. We do have the new mics. Hopefully, they sound better. If not, I wasted all my money, and then we'll have the studio there. So at Sean Madden Comedy on Instagram, you can find everything on YouTube, In the Hall Podcast, and we'll see you Thursday, episode 10.